First of all, thank you very much, Hyacinth, for
You're welcome.
putting this thing up. I think it's a very relevant innovation from your end. So I want to say kudos to you. I also would like to congratulate the prospective scholars. Yeah, there are 3 steps on the ladder, and I think you have successfully climbed the second. You applied, you met the minimum requirements for selection for the interview, and you have been successfully selected for interview, and you have just 1 step to go. So I'd like to congratulate you on this feat. But I would just like to add my voice to so very many things that has been said by the previous speakers. I think they virtually said most of the things I would have said. There's not really nothing more to add. So they say when the room has spoken, there's nothing more to be said. Yeah, Sheena spoke some of the things I would like to say, but more particularly, I would like to speak directly to the PhD prospective scholars, and I think that would be it. I'll just narrate my experience, how my interview went. Perhaps you can draw some points from there to also help you. And I believe because I succeeded, if you can get 1 or 2 tips, it will also help you in your interview. First of all, you met the minimum requirements for selection for interview. And so those are the criteria, the first criteria you have met. So the first thing I'll tell you, get back to the PTDF website, go through the requirements 1 more time, and begin to tick the boxes. Sure, before this interview, I had to open them on my screen. Of course, I know you have done them, you have them, but just deliberately get back to the website, mark those things out. This is what you should come with this, mark it, tick your box, I have this one, tick your box, I have this one, tick your box, I have this one. It's going to help. And if you have done that, I think the rest is your physical presence at the interview. I think I said, Ash, you did a video on preparing for PhD. I think a lot was shared on that video. I don't know if there's a way you can drop the link of that video so that many other things, because many of the things I have to say, I think we shared them there in that video. But just to add, I think the last speaker was talking about the mental preparation. I think that's very important. Yeah, it's very, very important. The issue is you can have so very many things. You can have all the qualifications, like Quinn was trying to point out, but your ability to make it loud, your ability to defend yourself. Now you are going for an interview. You have told them, this is what I have. It is now left to you to defend what you claim you have. And I think that's what the interview is about. From my experience, I was actually interviewed in Abuja. So I chose Abuja, not because that's where PTDF headquarters is. It was where I think I had more advantage logistic-wise, because I started planning psychologically from my home. And Abuja is a place where I'm quite familiar with the environment. I had a place to lodge, a very comfortable place. And I knew that would psychologically prepare me for the interview. So I deliberately chose Abuja. So in case you chose a location you have not been to before, maybe you chose Bauchi and you've not traveled to Bauchi before, I think Jesubon said something about going to the interview venue. I think it will really help, because this thing is psychology. You have to get there, acclimatize with the environment, walk around, and know what it's about. So but if you cannot do that, of course, I know some persons may not be able to do that for logistic reasons, maybe TFE. I will advise, if your interview is maybe 9 o'clock, try and arrive 7 o'clock. That is, if it's a terrain you are not familiar with at all, just arrive at least 1 hour, or at most 1 hour, whatever grammar is correct. So arrive very early so that you can settle down, you can internalize everything you have prepared to say, everything you have planned to say. So I think I got to Abuja a day before. My interview was on a Tuesday. I arrived Abuja on Monday afternoon. I lodged, had some time with my friend, and on Tuesday morning, my interview was for 9 o'clock. Well, I got there before 8 o'clock. For those of you who have been to the PTDF towers, you agree with me, it's a very lovely place. So I just admired the place. So when you get there, it's a place you like to be. When you see the skyscraper, it will give you some encouragement. This is the scholarship I'm about to have. And I just said that to ease your tension. So it really helped me. I got there, they ushered us. Of course, there are protocols. We've shared some information on that video. Of course, the gates, there are security men at the gate. You have to present everything you have. Your national identity card. They will check everything before they admit you in. Your means of identification, of course, they will check you in. They don't only check, I think they'll scan the QR code because some persons can get crashed. So they actually scanned the QR code on my form before they admitted us in, especially when we got inside one of the rooms. So you have to be there very early, sit down, settle down. Of course, at this point, you must have internalized your research proposal. For the PhDs, a bulk of the time is spent on your research proposal, what you put down. And in case you submitted a proposal you are not very familiar with, let me tell you my experience. I'll be very sincere. I didn't have a background in petroleum engineering. I didn't study petroleum engineering in my first degree. And so the proposal I submitted when I applied was basically mechanical engineering. It was mechanical engineering based. So a friend who is a beneficiary of the scholarship advised me that it might drop my points. And so I really have to, if there's anything I can do. Mind you, I had already uploaded it on the portal. I had submitted it. A window was open for us to update our proposal and interview center. I didn't even see that mail. I didn't see that mail. The only mail I saw was the mail inviting me for the interview. And so I had, I think, less than 1 week or two. I was 2022 set. So I had 1 week or two to quickly put something directly related to petroleum engineering. And that's the time I used. I just prepared the proposal, started. Someone has already talked about doing an in-depth research. If you are going for an interview like this, study about upstream, midstream. I think that's very key. So I started doing research afresh on a proposal related to petroleum engineering. I didn't know everything. I didn't know everything. I must be very frank with you. And you don't have to know everything, but just have a firm grip on what you are going there to defend. You see, PhD is actually in 3 parts. PhD, in my opinion, is divided into 3 parts. The first part is what you want to do. The second part is how you want to do it. And the third part is the results you are going to obtain. And because it's a proposal, you don't have the results yet. So what you should concentrate your efforts on is what you want to do. Know what you want to do. Know the topic, have a brief introduction, study some literature. So in case you have not done that now, you can as well do. But let me quickly finish my story. When I was going for the interview, I had to print, because I could not upload my research proposal on petroleum engineering to the portal, it had already been closed. I had to print a hard copy with me and took it to the panel that very day. So when the panelists saw me, they were about to interview me on the basis of what they saw on their screen. I told him, no, sir, I didn't remember to change that. I have a new proposal with me. So I passed a hard copy of my proposal to them. I printed my own copy. So they interviewed me on that. As I was saying, know what you want to do. Know how you want to do it. So your emphasis, your efforts should be concentrated on the introduction, the literature review, and the methodology, how you hope to accomplish this research. And mind you, you don't have to know everything. I can tell you for sure, when I prepared my methodology, is actually what I'm doing right here. I didn't know everything about it. You cannot know everything until you start doing it. In the process of doing it, you start getting used to what you are doing. You start knowing it in depth. Of course, some days back when I was trying to advise an applicant, I had to get back to my proposal. and I saw some things I wrote. I was just smiling. Of course, I prepared, I read them. I'm using a software for those of you familiar with petroleum engineering, Petrol. I think I wrote it on my proposal. But I can tell you, I didn't know how to use Petrol. I only knew what it can do, what it does. And so don't expect that you will know everything, but don't also go there unprepared. I believe that is very clear. So I arrived, came in, just comport yourself. Be mentally balanced. Avoid anything that will tense you up. Don't be because you can prepare a very excellent proposal and you get there, you are tensed up. You are not able to give a good account of yourself. So whatever thing you know to do to avoid tension, do it. Avoid tension. Don't be anxious. Don't be overly anxious. Trying to those theory. There will be a central examiner, one to his right, one to his left. They all have their systems before them. So when you arrive, everything you submitted upon application is showing on their computer. So they will be asking you questions on the basis of what they can see on their screen. Everything you uploaded is right before them. And so feel very free, just relax. And let me tell you what helped me, that helped me relax. I told myself, see, even if I don't get this thing, heaven will not fall. I got it. That thing helped me calm down. I just told myself, even if I don't get this thing, heaven will not fall. That thing really helped me. And so I went there without, because if you, I must get it, I must get it, I must get it, it will contribute to your tension. You understand? So just be very free. And I can assure you, not everyone that applied or that went for the interview will get it. What will determine those who get it will just be some little things we are sharing here, and above all, the grace of God. Somebody has spoken on that already. I don't like to overflow that. So just be at ease. Be at ease. Don't be tensed. Just be at ease. Go there, be cheerful, be courteous. Someone was asking questions about the dress sense. I put on suit. I was putting on a suit, a two-piece suit with a, just dress as if you are coming for an interview. Just look responsible. If you are putting on native, you need to add your cap. Just be decent. Don't wear jeans, please. Don't wear jeans. I know, especially those of us engineers, we can be corrosive. So don't wear jeans, I beg you. Just wear your suit or your native with your cap, and that's all. I've talked about the proposal. Please, I can't overemphasize that fact. They are going to ask you questions on your proposal. I spent about 25 minutes with the interview panel, and over 10 minutes of that time was on my proposal, because they just basically checked all my credentials from my O level. Sorry, my which one is primary school living certificate to O level to your first degree certificate, to your master's degree certificate. Please go with your certificate. Let me quickly emphasize it. Don't go with statement of results. They may accept it, but just try to avoid anything that will make them ask you, oh, where is the certificate? You now start telling stories. They have not. If you can lay hands on your certificate, please go lay hands on it now. You still have at least 1 week to get those things ready. And for PhD scholars, please go with your transcript, your master's transcript, as much as you can. Go get it. If it will mean pains to anybody in your school to get, please get it and have it handy, because it really counted. Let me just tell you what played out the day I was interviewed. The man asked me, he saw my data. He didn't really bother much about my first degree. He saw my master's. Okay, my master's was a distinction. And he said I had it because if you had a first class, you have a distinction in your master's, they want to verify with your transcript. So that's what played out on my own day. Thank God I was with the transcript. There was nothing like my school. I just brought it out. I had collected it, and he saw it already. Somebody was trying to ask about a national award. Any certificate you have in this life, carry it. Certificate is very light. It's not heavy. I always tell people, any certificate you have ever had in this life, you will commit no crime presenting a certificate that was not even relevant. But ensure you have the relevant ones. I went with all my qualifications, everything. I went with everything from current to NSC to NIMEC to all the certificates I have in my field. I just carried everything. They didn't even look at all of them, but I had them in my file in case they wanted to see it. So please ensure you have everything handy. What else? And be cautious, please. When you face the panelists or PhD scholars, they are going to ask you questions on why you think the research should not be sponsored in Nigeria. I think someone spoke on that.
Yeah.
I think that thing also came up because you are appearing before a panel. You're asking them to sponsor you overseas. And you know it's very expensive sponsoring someone overseas these days. So you have to be able to tell them, why can't we sponsor this research in Nigeria? What makes you think this research you have brought to us cannot be sponsored in UI? You cannot carry out this research in Nsukka. You have to be able to tell them. You can tell them the methodologies, the softwares, the this, the another. So just find a way to convince them that this particular research is beneficial to the oil and gas industry. And I'm sorry, sir, it cannot be effectively carried out in Nigeria. That's why so get those answers ready. Know the research, know what you are doing, know how you are going to do it, basically. Because I remember Prof was asking me that day, he asked me, let me tell you the truth, he asked me a question I could not answer. I didn't know the answer, I must tell you the truth. And I just told him, I don't know much about that for now. That's what I told him. There's no point trying to say what you don't know. I just told him, sir, I don't know much about that for now. That was because the discussion was becoming professional. And I could see that these guys are very deep in the industry. They've been in the industry, they've been in the classroom. So be courteous, be prayerful. Don't go with a fake certificate. Yes, I have to emphasize that. Don't go with a fake certificate. If you could not maybe lay hands on your original certificate, don't fake anything. I believe you now know that they have gadgets for tracking fake certificates. Yes, they have it now. They have gadgets for knowing whether a certificate is fake. So please don't take that risk. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Try as much as possible to lay hands on your original certificate. So with these few points, I think I can now get back to Hysen for maybe question and answer. I'll be obliged to take your questions. Thank you very much, Hash. I wish every one of you the best.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Joshua, for such a wonderful presentation.